All right, recording is in progress. All right, here we go. So just quickly, I want to share with you, I think we'll look at the Knoll website. So here's one on the Knoll website. I made a small, like a document with this settee by Florence Knoll, and then an Oslo side chair that they sell through I guess it's designed by a Scandinavian designer or company that they carry. So, but here, like if you want to look at look at this, you can either look at the document that I sent. I sent it in an announcement in Blackboard, or you can just go to the Knoll website, look up there under the heading "The Classics." You'll see a list of names, and one of them is Florence Knoll, and you'll see this settee, which is I guess small sofa. All right. So because I can only share one thing at a time, I can't share this website and share the my tablet, the overhead camera. So I'm going to have to do this and move. Kitty's got to move. No. Elliot, yeah, I'm sorry, honey. You got to. I'm at work. I know it's weird. It's weird and disappointing that I'm at work and you can't just sit in front of everything. Sit on those drawings.
She's admiring your drawing.
What's that?
She's admiring your drawing.
Well, you know, as long as he's close to me, he's happy. And yes, and don't play with the eraser. I don't want him to eat that. But yes, he is admiring my drawing. He doesn't. I don't think he fully gets how it's done. His expertise is in cuteness, and he's also very good at killing rats and mice, which he learned as a child living in an alley in Pilsen. The woman who brought him in and got him to the shelter told me that he was out living in the alley. Somebody put him out. Clearly somebody loved him because he was the nicest cat in the world. But he was out in the alley living under a dumpster and killing rats that were bigger than he was. So he's a little savage too. But the alley is no place for a kitty cat to live, so now he lives the good life here with me. All right. Okay. Now let's see. I think maybe first. Gosh, should I do the scissor chair first? I think maybe I'll do the yeah. All right. So this is in the assignment document. You got that the scissor chair that's sold by Herman Miller, originally designed by Ward Bennett for Geiger, which is another commercial furniture company. I have to move that over to there so I can see that and my screen. Good. All right, so furniture. So first, one of the first things I'll do is establish a horizon line. And, in some cases, you don't have to worry too much about the horizon line, but it is your eye level. And if, you're looking at if your view is standing height and furnishings on the floor, furniture is all going to be below your eye level. If and you're making it up, you can put it wherever you want. Like you could have a piece of furniture that goes above and below the horizon line, just as a demonstration. But that also, just be aware that that creates a view of the furniture from a specific position, and that is really that would be like the viewer sitting on the floor, which is fine. You can have views of furnishings or interiors as if you're like lower or higher. There are higher and lower spaces in designed interiors, so really, I think your ability to control this is really what we're up to here. So that's a straight enough horizon line. Now, Hope, you're doing this in 1-point perspective. So 1-point perspective is the vanishing point in the center. Let me just one more thing I want to do. And that is to you know what, never mind. I'm just not going to do that right now. I'm going to worry about this first. Okay, sorry for that interruption. Okay, so you see the scissor chair is, if it's sitting like right here below the horizon line, I can start it. What in the world are you doing, Elliot? Like walking on things that are where he could be walking on a stable surface. Okay. So so I mentioned this to Hope, that if you've got this this seat angles downward, and as it recedes from you, the seat would angle like kind of inward like that. This extends, like the side up here is really the base of that, and then the front of this, I think, would be kind of like that. That's it. So I think from here, I would make like that scissor chair in 1-point perspective. Want to keep track of like the back and then the front of the like that leg base. This is all one rectangle. And if it's angling toward me, I'm going to guess that it's might be just angling outward. You're really not going to use the vanishing point much, other than to say that, like, if this is like the front where this like comes down and that's where it's on the ground. If I go back to the vanishing point, like that, then wherever the back comes down to the ground, I would keep it inside like that, those two orthogonals that go back to the vanishing point from the front corner of the base there. And then I'm approximating the height here, and then from that down to there, and then I would just like try to do that. This curves a little bit, and this curves a little bit too. Kind of like that. Does that make sense at all, Hope?
I think so. So basically what you're seeing is like the bottom of the seat since it's angled downward.
Yeah.
Okay.
It would
That
also
makes sense. But
yeah, I mean, it'd also be very foreshortened. So if we did this like on another sheet here. So if I were doing a chair, and the chair is just like, does not have those angles, if the seat is parallel to the floor, if this is the back of the chair, I'd have the seat here. You want to make sure that you shorten that side so that it doesn't look like the chair is too deep. When you see the horizontal surface of the seat in perspective or at an oblique angle, it will make it seem like it's shallower in terms of depth. Like it doesn't go back so far. Then from like here, the back legs, depending on this, I might just choose one leg. If I choose the front leg to be this long, then from here I would go back up to the vanishing point, through the vanishing point, and then like that, right? So this is if the chair seat is parallel to the floor surface it's sitting on, then you would have a much simpler time of just going straight back to the vanishing point from the sides, and then get your seat. If the seat is angled downward, it would change this angle here, and I think it would also lower that. That you really would have to approximate. And I think with something like the Barcelona chair, which has the really steep pitch to the seat, and the scissor chair too, I don't know if you would even see. I mean, it looks like you wouldn't even see the seat surface from the front, because you really can't see it in this angled like 2-point view in the picture that's in the assignment document. So that's challenging to do the 1 point. You might try showing it in 1 point perspective from the side, where like you could start. I mean, I guess you could do this like I'm going to put it off to the side. With 1 point perspective, you don't have to have it right under the vanishing point. And so if you had it off to the side, let me see.
So I did the Barcelona chair also, and then I tried to do like a side view of it in 1 point perspective, and it's just flat, and I don't really know how to redeem that, I guess, and make it 1 point perspective. I realize I chose two of probably like the most difficult ones to do in 1 point perspective, but
challenging.
If there's any way to fix it,
oh yeah,
that
would
be great to know.
I learned, there's always a way. There's always a way to draw it. It might be difficult, but there's always a way. So, like with this, if I had, let's just say I have the scissor chair, but I've got it off to the side here. I'm going to have to angle it like this. I'd have to, like, these would have to just be horizontals parallel to the horizon line. So I think in terms of applying 1 point perspective, like that scissor chair, turning it to the side like that, it's like you're kind of just going to do this. Like that's gonna, and then you can like, curve this and curve that. Now, from a side view, if I did this like a side view, I think it would be so like the front and the back edge would be really close. kind of like that. That might be Elliot. Come on, man. Hey, where you going? Where you going? You're upstaging my demonstration now. Oh, buddy, come here. Oh, you sit here. Oh, sit here. This needs to shorten. Okay, go up there. Move, little butt. Come on. All right. Hey, your child's goofing up the focus. Good. Sit there. Sorry. That's all right there. Yeah, so before I do any all right, that pitch is terrible. It's too let's see. I do want this kind of like on the seat. So where this like comes down in the front and the back at the base, I want them to be like aligned on a horizontal. When the corner goes up to the vanishing point from here goes up to the vanishing point. And you know, the depth of it, you're just kind of like, I'm approximating the depth from that like front piece of the frame to the back piece of the frame. And, you know, that's where you can either, you know, you can get it wrong or you can get it right. And I think what you got to do, especially if you don't really know, is you just have to try and then see how it looks. Now there's the frame. For the frame, you're going to need two parallel lines that are very close, so you can make it look like it's that steel. It looks like the joint there. This is the seat. And then there's going to be a seam that would go to the vanishing point. You want to get a little bit of the, there is some height to the cushion, which I think you would do like kind of like as a shadow. And then here you wouldn't see the frame on that side because the cushion and upholstery would come up and block your view of it. Okay. Ah. And then there's that little curve up. Push that out, not too much. I just pushed it out a little too much. Okay. That's better. This needs to come out. Yeah, I think this, I mean, like the front of this needs to be a little bit like, it needs to be like down here, almost under the corner of the seat. It doesn't quite come out, so I think I might need to change the angle a little bit. Okay. All right. That's okay. It might, you know, the seat here might be a little bit short, but it's not that deep of a seat. And, you know, with that really steep angle to the pitch of the chair, with the pitch of the back like that, and then that. You don't necessarily need the seat to be too deep because it's the chair is going to hold on and not let you go. So there. So yeah, so showing the depth of the chair I think is challenging. But I think that's actually a little bit better. Okay. So like
That's
here,
very helpful. Thank you.
yeah, so like your angles that go to the vanishing point, the front of the chair, the top of the chair, the back of the base and the front of the base, and then the seam in between. And even then I'm really trying to show this. There. Yeah. So this is I think this is very close. I might want the leg to be a little farther forward, but if you look at the photo, this is not quite right underneath that corner. All right, good. So there's scissor chair. And now that I got this big penciling mess here, I think I'm going to try to just slap a little marker down on it. Very light marker. This is actually the Copic N1, and I have the N1 because Blick was getting rid of their refills a long time ago, and they had an N1 on sale, and so I bought it. All right. Now, just with the, I can see, I just go over that. I want to keep it light, so I'm just going to leave this alone up there. The frame. Let's keep going with sharp pencils. This is an HB pencil. I think I might have some mechanical pencils handy too, because these are good for just maintaining a nice sharp point and consistent line weight. Yeah, curve, curve, curve. So take the time to make sure you can get that two thin lines running parallel to each other that don't look too chunky. That way you can make it look like it's actually the design of the chair. That I think takes some practice. When I draw, if I'm trying to draw them fast, so like I'm holding the pencil tightly, and I'm really like moving my hand in the pencil. I'm not moving my wrist. I'm just moving my arm. So if I want to draw, I'm just gonna pull my arm, pull it down. So you have to make those, you kind of have to be decisive and quick about it, and that's something that can just take some time to get comfortable with. And I would encourage you to just do it. Practice making lines that are parallel to each other. And they won't be perfect, but you can just work on practicing, just getting comfortable doing that. And I think it will help you get better at drawing. And when you're more confident that you can make a straight line, then I think you're just going to feel better about drawing, and you might just do it more often, and it won't be such a struggle. Okay, so now that I got that there, what that is, I don't like it that that's so short. Seems like the chair would be a little tippy, but I kind of I'm a little bit committed to this because of the marker that I just put down. But let's see. I might just have to fix this. I'm tempted to just bend the leg, but you don't want to do that. Okay, because this part is a little farther. No, they're about the same. Okay, that's okay. Okay, good. Oh well. So the marker, once the marker is down, it's down. So you have to just live with it. Kind of forces you to learn how to use it. Okay, better. Yeah, that's okay. It's not perfect, but I think these drawings aren't going to be perfect. Marker on this, you can see with the stainless steel, or like with the steel frame, there's a little bit of a, like, what it really is reflection, that black strip that runs through the metal. That. There. Good. That's plenty right there for that scissor chair view. And if I don't have this quite perfect, then I'll work on making it look better in the next one. Okay. Yeah. So I think one of the challenges of doing, I guess with the perspective drawing, you want to make it look like the piece of furniture. You want to be able to learn to do it a little bit, maybe a little faster, more efficient, so it doesn't take you a tremendous amount of time to just sit down and make a sketch of a piece of furniture. And then, but you kind of have to, when you're learning how to do it, you've got to go through the process slowly, so that you know how to draw all the pieces of it. So at first, you should take your time, slog through it, learn how to do it. This looks better. This is a little tall. It's better. Okay. I think this one I might inking this is like a little, can be a little frightening if you're, since you can't take this ink off. There's that. So if you can get this without inking. Like I didn't ink this one. There are times when you want to ink this, and then times when you might not really need it. There. Okay. The inking can make it clearer. Let me try this one here. I'll just sharpen this up. This light up here. Okay. Nice thing about inking is that you can just knock all that stray pencil out of there. If it's close enough, and there is a little bit of a wobble to my line there, but oh well. Just add a little there. Forgot to put the cushion in there. And then take just a regular, there's a little, so you can see there's a little thickness. There should be a little bit of shadow here. Of course, some shadow. Under here. And maybe a little shadow down there. With the pencil, I can combine the graphite to darken the marker. And that is pretty good with this. Sometimes it's just like the pencil or a pen for that little like strip of shadow in there. Be careful I don't overdo it. It's very easy to just kind of get into what you're doing and overdo it. That's way too much. The marks there are just way too active. Good. And then shadow down here. I think I might just like that. Shadow. There. Good. That's all done. So this is one point because these are sitting horizontal parallel to the horizon line. I got the angle here, so it's a little different than the view I'm looking at. I think I might have too much of the base, like too much of the bottom of the seat, but yeah, I think I kind of do. But oh well, still not a bad drawing. Okay, good. Well, I did want to draw that Knoll sofa for the settee. Any questions about that scissor chair? Does that help, or does that help you to understand a little bit more about how to do this?
Yeah, that was great.
Very good. So since I'm recording this, just you can find this bit in the recording that I'll post on my YouTube. All right. Now I'm going to look at my nope. Okay. All right. So the Florence Knoll sofa could be maybe a little bit more accessible since it is largely rectangular planes or rectangular volumes. Move some of this stuff off of here. yeah, a fresh piece of this paper. Okay. So then, all right, let's have let's go there. You can see that. That is the right vanishing point. Okay, so with 2-point perspective, you're drawing the corner first, it's closest to you, and then you draw to the vanishing points. Take that line out of there, so mix it up. There. So if I want to try to draw this view in 2-point perspective, don't get too caught up in having to draw exactly the view you're looking at. That can lead to some trouble where you try to, like you set your vanishing points out here, and that's not really where they would be for the photograph, and you try to draw the photograph in here, and then it won't fit these vanishing points. Work with your drawing. I mean, really, if you're looking at this and trying to draw it from a different view than you're looking at, you can still use perspective to get yourself there. So that height of the cushions there, this angles, the cushion of the bat angles there. So really, I'm using the photograph for reference. I think I'm going to draw the volume, the front. I'm going to approximate how far down based on the photo. I'm also approximating the width there. There's like the base, the frame of the base there. There's the thickness of the cushions. And like here, I'm drawing approximately in this direction. If I really needed to, I could use a straight edge and straighten it out. But as long as it's close, I'm okay with it. That's pretty good. I mean, I won't be surprised if mine are pretty close just because I'm used to doing this. But mine also will be a little soft, and that's okay. Like there. Now, I don't want to like jump in and start nailing down those edges if this is still in the sketch form and I haven't established that this is the correct position for those bat cushions. It might be. That kind of angles. There's the cushion thickness. It's not bad. here, if this is like, this is the front surface of the cushions. I've got a seam in the middle. I want to know where the middle is. If this rectangle in the front, if I go like across the diagonal, there's the middle. Vertical there. That allows me to know where the center actually will be.
Can you repeat that for the center?
Yeah. So I want to know where the middle of the cushion, like that seam is. And it's a little bit soft there. Do that a little bit over here. Here. I'll do that again. I have to move that. All right, so I'm drawing this sofa, or settee as they call it, in perspective. I've got the thickness of the cushion running across the front here. And I've established this rectangle in perspective of the front surface of both of the cushions. I want to know where is the middle. In perspective, I can't just measure from here to here with a ruler and say it's, let's see, if I say that that's 2 3/4, I wouldn't just go to half, because in perspective, this, like, the surface seems to get smaller, so the measurement would gradually get smaller. And all of this, I don't really have any way of knowing like how much smaller. How would I adjust for the changing scale? And I don't need to. So if this, I've established this rectangle on the front. So from corner to corner, diagonal going across the corner. I haven't drawn it all the way across. I'm just, because I really just want the middle. But then from this corner to its opposite up there, there's the center right there. Then I can go up and then that to the vanishing point.
Thank you.
Yep. And so then I have the, this, it will make this look a little bit wider than this, and that's how it should look. Not necessarily a lot, but enough that you would see it. Now, the angle of this comes down here, and then I want to see, I think the seats, I want to make the seat look like it's about the right depth. And if that line is there, it's going to look too shallow for the seat compared to the design of the sofa. So I think it's going to be somewhere like there. And that means the edge of the side of the cushions there. This is there. That's not bad. And then here, I want to make sure that that's not too thin, not too too large. Okay. Pretty good. And then the arm, the top of the arm wraps around to become, basically this is just like basically the structure of it was kind of like wraps around, and then the cushion just sits in there. Here, where this seam on the cushion, like the seats, reaches the back, then there, and I'm approximating this like angle of the pitch. It's not straight. It's not going to a vanishing point like that. I'm just doing that based on what the thing looks like. I think that's and then the height of it, you want to just approximate the height accurately. I think I have it better over here. And then the approximate the seam there. We have 1, 2, 3 buttons. 2, 3. I can do the same thing with the cushion in the back that I did with this front, so I can find like where the middle is, and then approximate those, because those buttons appear like the middle button would be in the center of the cushion. This one, if I want to find that corner, just draw it, redraw it so you can see it through the arm. And do it lightly so that you can erase it, and if you need to, there. There's where the button would be there, button there, and then you can approximate the middle, like the center for those two. Good. The seat has that same button upholstery. More in perspective. If you can approximate it well enough, just approximate it. But you could do the same thing where, like, from here, I found the center of the cushion, I can come down to the seam and then back out across here and find the middle of the seat. Middle of the seat. Try to straighten this a little bit. So this furniture was designed by Florence Knoll in the 1950s. She was running the company and still like doing design. She was the creator of the Knoll Planning Unit, where they did interior design for big commercial clients. And it's really, you can thank Florence Knoll for the fact that there is a professional discipline called interior design, because she kind of made it happen. It didn't really exist before she came along. There were other people, but she was really, she was kind of the person who, she had the resources of Knoll. She had married Hans Knoll, who had taken over. It was his family's company that started in Germany, moved to the U.S. He died in a car crash in Cuba in the 40s, in the late 40s, scouting a site for manufacturing. And so she was married to him. She was an arch. She died just not too long ago. She was an architect, and so she took over, and she continued, made the company the mid-century modern powerhouse that it was. She didn't do it all by herself. She hired good people, and she'd known some of them through professional relationships and even family relationships, because she was adopted by a well-to-do family in West Bloomfield, Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. And she met the Saarinen family. Eliel Saarinen was a son, Eliel Saarinen the dad. And so she was kind of well connected by luck. There. Now you'll see this. This is a distortion of perspective where this front leg is very long compared to these two on the side. I think for the scale of the sofa, these vanishing points should really be farther apart, because if this like the right vanishing point were farther away, if it were like way out, even like way off my page, out here, and I drew to it, and I had this, even like if it's out, even if it were out here, let's see, so there, let me see, so like if it's there, if this is my leg, that's going to be the length of that. If my vanishing point is even just a little farther to the right, you see what happens. The orthogonal that goes to the vanishing point comes under the leg here, and it would just make that leg look a little bit more in proportion with the piece of furniture. If I do change this and say my right vanishing point is here, then I have to come back and change all of these other angles, which might not be that big of a deal. But in some cases it would change, like, it would change the, might not change them too much. Grab my scale. I'm going to do it with the scale instead. It's a little, some flatter to the surface. Okay. I'm going to maybe assume this is correct on the corner back here. You can see it will really require me to redraw all of these edges that are receding to the right. I can leave these on the edges receding to the left. I can leave alone. But you know, sometimes you have to do this. You realize, like, you know what, that just looks stupid for this leg to be so short, and so I just can't live with it. And so I'll move the vanishing point just a little bit over. So I'm going to take this out so that I don't accidentally start using it, because that can happen. There we go. Boy, I'm a little rough on these mechanical pencils. I press too hard. So I have to. Usually, I have like the 0.7 or 0.9 millimeter. The 0.5 and the 0.3 are like this. This one is a 0.3 millimeter. It's the graphite. Excuse me, is so thin. I can't help but just break it all the time. Okay. there. Yes, it's going to lower the arm there. So I will have to redraw this a little here because it's lowered the arm to here, which means that just has to get changed. Really foreshortened. That's okay. Okay. Good. Maybe try this. Now be careful. I think I may have mentioned this last time. If you're drawing verticals, you want to make sure that if you're assuming like the edge of your page is kind of like your verticals are supposed to be parallel to the edge of the drawing and the sheet you're drawing on, you want to make sure you're not angling this even a little bit. And the bottom of the triangle lined up against there is really not super reliable, but it doesn't mean you can't use it that way. If you've got like a triangle, you can set the triangle down on the edge of the drawing. Here, yeah, see, it's a little bit. And if it looks a little crooked, then just correct it. I would say the sooner if you see something is not accurate, change it. Just correct it, because if you keep it in there thinking like maybe I can use it, you might end up doing some more work and then having to just ditch something you don't like, fix something that you don't want to have to fix.
How do you determine the angle for the vertical line for the back cushion?
Approximation.
Okay.
I look at the photograph and I guess I just approximate like what that is.
Okay.
There's really no other. There's no other way.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, if you were doing something like I guess you could make it like really geeky and like if you were doing like 1-point perspective from the side, and you knew like if you had like a cut sheet, or just like you had enough information about the piece of furniture that gave you like the degree of the angle, and you could use like a protractor. But nobody does that. That would be funny to see somebody like using a protractor or something like that to get this like super precise angle. Because like if you're using this and you're saying like, well, here we'll throw in this nice classic Knoll settee for you. You sketch it out, and as long as it looks like the Knoll settee, it needs to look enough like it that it's not. It doesn't look like it's something else. Then you're fine. Okay. Then I'm going to try little bits of graphite's great because it smudges. But then I want to come in and clean up all this horrible mess I have here. Yep. Hey, here's here is a very large cat. It was named Dennis. He usually doesn't bother me unless he wants food. Hey. Where are you going? Man, he needs to be brushed. He hates being brushed. He will bite me if I do it too long. He does not really know his own strength. He is a big, strong dummy. I'll love him to death. Okay. And mind your legs down here. Oopie. Up. These legs are thin, rectangular legs. And so you really do have to make them large enough that they, really just try to get the scale right. Yeah, make them nice and straight there. So that's like, I think we talked about this before. You've got the rectangular, those angles, that really short little edge, it goes to the vanishing point. So you can see on that back one surface is more like has a reflection of the bottom. So I think this is where the using a straight edge can be convenient to make it that, like here, the thin steel frame that shows along the bottom. I made that too thick. Okay. Any questions about this yet? Or are there any other questions than have been already asked?
I have a quick question in regards to your shading.
Yep.
Does the light source change depending on the angle of your furniture or which vanishing point you're going to?
That's a very good question. Generally, with if you're drawing for an interior, light comes from above. So the vertical surfaces would be more in shadow, and the horizontal surfaces would be illuminated. It's not always a perfect arrangement. Like if you have a window right here, you would probably definitely say okay, there's going to be shadow here, a little more light here, but you might have the light change across this surface. Because then you also get the cushions might be a little bit lighter here and transition that way. But generally light from above.
Okay.
Yep. I need to take a short break for 5 or 10 minutes. Let's say 10 minutes. 2:25, I'll be back. And then if you have any drawings you'd like me to see, I'd like to see them.